Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking the ongoing, highly complex geopolitical friction between the United States and Iran. But we're actually going to look at it through a very specific, fascinating lens: Pakistan. We're going to dive into how this broader conflict and the ongoing nuclear disputes create immediate, real-world challenges for regional players and how they're basically forced to pivot in response.
I want you to just imagine for a second, what actually happens when two global powers clash and you are caught squarely in the middle. Picture the incredibly precarious position of trying to navigate your own domestic needs while two heavyweights are deadlocked right around you. It requires this absolutely delicate balance, and as we'll see today, it's honestly a masterclass in the necessities of modern statecraft. All right, to make sure we've got a good handle on all this, here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. First, we'll look at the geopolitical deadlock itself. Second, Pakistan's precarious position. Third, the real economic and security threats. Fourth, the strategy of neutrality. And finally, we'll zoom out to look at the interconnected web.
Okay, let's jump right into part one, the geopolitical deadlock between the US and Iran. So looking at the big picture, we have this prolonged deadlock between the United States and Iran. And this friction is driven by profoundly clashing strategic interests alongside really complex disputes over nuclear development. Now, this deadlock absolutely does not happen in a vacuum. It directly impacts global stability, and it essentially creates this massive geopolitical gravitational pull on all the countries surrounding them.
Which leads us right into Section 2, Pakistan's precarious position, where they find themselves effectively caught right in the middle.
For Pakistan, this isn't just some abstract political debate happening on the news. It is their literal, everyday geographic and diplomatic reality. Look at the balance required here. On one side, you have Iran's immediate physical proximity. They are right next door. And then on the other side, you have the United States, which is a major, absolutely crucial diplomatic partner. Managing these two competing realities is literally like walking a tightrope. It takes a highly sophisticated foreign policy approach just to keep things from tipping over.
So what happens when that tightrope starts to shake? Let's look at Section 3, Economic and Security Threats, and the tangible fallout. Fluctuations in regional tension are not just theoretical for Pakistan. They are direct, measurable threats. When the US-Iran deadlock escalates, the tangible fallout hits Pakistan's economy hard. We're talking about surging energy costs and very real border security risks. A diplomatic flare-up halfway across the world? Yeah, that inevitably translates to volatile shared borders right at home. Knowing all these severe risks, how does a country actually respond? That brings us to Section 4, the strategy of neutrality, or Pakistan's balancing act.
Pakistan can't exactly afford to just sit back and watch. They've developed a very distinct set of protocols to navigate this crossfire. Step 1, actively advocate for diplomatic mediation. Step 2, maintain strict neutrality. And Step 3, prevent full-scale conflict at literally all costs. By constantly pushing both sides toward the negotiating table, Pakistan is essentially trying to cool the whole region down to protect its own borders and economy. I really want to highlight this point. Consistently advocating for mediation is essential for national survival. It is so vital to understand that Pakistan's neutrality is not passive. Actually, scratch that. It's more than active. It is a required strategy. Because any escalation into a full-scale conflict would be absolutely disastrous for their economic health. Demanding mediation isn't just a preference, it's a matter of absolute survival. Finally, let's zoom back out to the macro level with Section 5, the interconnected web, and the overarching global lesson we can draw from all of this. And this brings us to the core takeaway of today's explainer. The interconnected nature of modern politics forces regional players to prioritize stability to protect their own national interests. Distant friction, like the nuclear disputes between the US and Iran, creates very real, very disruptive ripples. Neighboring countries like Pakistan have to prioritize regional stability not out of sheer altruism, but strictly to protect their own energy grids, their border security, and their economic health. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Can any nation truly remain isolated in today's interconnected political web? When we watch Pakistan pivoting in the deadlock between the United States and Iran, we're seeing a crystal clear example that in the modern world, geography and diplomacy are permanently intertwined. The fallout of a clash between powers almost always lands on the neighbors, which pretty much makes global stability everyone's vital interest. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.